Enjoy the rest of the concert.
Welcome back, everyone, to Horror with Nads, and today I am going to be talking about M. Night Shyamalan's new film, Trap, that's out in theaters right now. Before I get into it, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I do horror news and breakdowns. If you'd also like to support the channel further, there is a link in the description to send me a cup of coffee, popcorn to help with my next movie trip. Now, let's get into Trap.
The freaking nut job that goes around chopping people up. But the feds heard that he's gonna be here today.
I want to first talk non-spoilers for Trap. So this first half will be non-spoilers, and then I'll mark when spoilers start. The premise of Trap is pretty simple. If you've seen the trailer, you pretty much know what's going on. It's a serial killer takes his daughter to a concert, think like a Taylor Swift Eras tour. Turns out it's a trap for him. Now, it's the latest movie from M. Night Shyamalan since Knock at the Cabin, which, by the way, I would argue is better, but not by much. Read the books. The book is way better. Is M. Night Shyamalan back with this one? No. And I'll go a little bit further into details in the spoiler section. This movie is a hot mess. It's starring Josh Harnett as Cooper, aka the Butcher. And it starts off interesting. So the premise is very interesting, and I will say, maybe I would have enjoyed it more had I not seen the trailers, because the trailers give everything away. It's an interesting premise, right? We have a serial killer being, I don't know what another word, but I guess like trapped. How's he going to get out of this? Will he get out of this? And how will this affect his daughter? That was the most interesting part when I first saw the trailer. Even though the twist is there's a twist still, but he's a serial killer. How is this all going to affect his kid while they're at this concert? Well, folks, sitting through this, I frankly don't see why anyone would care past Act 1 of this movie. And I don't mean to be harsh on this movie. I understand a lot of people worked on this. I get it. But if your movie is bad, in the person's opinion, which is my opinion, right? Somebody might say, hey, it's great. It's M. Night Shyamalan's back. In my opinion, he's not back, which is a shame because I've enjoyed most of his work earlier on. I think the last thing I really enjoyed, other than Knock at the Cabin, which again wasn't that bad, but it maybe Split, but it's been a hot minute. Halfway through this movie, I almost turned to my husband to ask if we could leave. That's how bored out of my mind it was. The pacing's very interesting. It speeds up and then it slows back down. And then it speeds up again and it slows back down. During the first act, you're introduced to Cooper, who's played by Josh Harnett, his daughter, who's played by Ariel Donoghue. They're going to a concert by Lady Raven, who's played by M. Night Shyamalan's own daughter. Shalika, I think is how you say her name. She gives the performance as like a Taylor Swift type of musician, I guess. I'm not a Swiftie. I've never been. I don't know. And so the first half is you're introduced to this. You kind of see what the setup is, but by now thinking about it, the first half of the movie, or first act, is pretty much in all of the trailers. The whole conversation he had with the merch guy about like what's going on, which, by the way, if you're told there's going to be a serial killer and this is a trap, why are you telling some random stranger if you're so into serial killers? Most serial killers come off as like charming, like think Ted Bundy, right? There's something off about them, but they can kind of integrate with society. I mean, I know there's a couple of crazy ones out there that you're like right off the bat, like you're a creep, dude. Like no way. But it just didn't flow well. So Act 1, he finds out that this is a trap. Act 2 is just him trying to figure out how to get out of the arena. And then Act 3 is the twist and the conclusion of it, which I don't know if he's trying to integrate this character of Cooper into his like Split Breaking Glass kind of universe, because I kind of got that feeling of it, but I don't know. You know what? I want to talk spoilers. Let's get into spoilers. Now, for this spoiler section, to be honest, this is just going to be like a rant. I had so many issues. Okay, One, being the pacing. Very speedy in the beginning, slows down, speedy, slows down. It just didn't correlate. The dialogue is horrendous. There's a scene where Cooper is trying to escape the arena and finds out the only way anybody's going to be in and out of it is through the backstage, through Lady Raven's people, right? So he's looking for somebody because he knows there's a part in the concert where Lady Raven chooses a girl out of this stadium to come up and sings with her, and he's like, oh, this is my way of getting backstage. This is where M. Night Shyamalan inserts himself, as he does with all his movies, as the uncle to Lady Raven and works for her. And there's a conversation. It's so poorly done. I'm like, people don't talk like this. I understand it's a movie, but the dialogue does not flow. People don't just awkwardly come up to someone and just have. I don't even remember, but remember the dialogue per word, but I remember thinking to myself, because I wrote it down, who talks like this? There's no charisma, there's no energy, there's definitely no chemistry amongst the cast. Like, if you think this movie could be saved by Josh Harnett, you are mistaken. While I think he's a fantastic actor, I'm a early 2000s horror, like he's been in everything, Penny Dreadful. I really enjoy him. He can't even save this movie. He cannot. So, as I said, in the trailer, you'll see pretty much everything that happens in Act Two, where he pushes down a woman. He's trying to, he makes an explosion happen at one of the concession stands to distract, to go backstage, and every single time he's uh, blocked by being unable to escape. So we get to Act Three, and mind you, this whole time also there's like an elderly FBI woman who has been hunting him, who knows, it's the profiler of it. And then you get to Act Three, and he reveals himself to Lady Raven. Which, no offense to M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, she can't act. She can't at least act. She can sing. If she's singing all those songs, kudos to her, but she cannot act. It's just very awkward. Maybe it's a Gen Z thing or a younger generation, but I just, anytime somebody opened their mouth, except for Josh Harnett in this movie, I'm just like, how do people consist of this as actual dialogue? It takes me out of the movie. I'm not immersed into it. I'm completely thrown off by it. Just the way people, just no chemistry between anybody on this crew or cast. So he has to reveal himself to Lady Raven because he's out of options, and not tricks her, but says like, hey, if you don't, let me and my daughter go with you, like take us home, and so we can avoid the police inspection at all the exits, the person who's on my phone, his latest victim is going to die. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think that was a little bit of a lie, but hey, let's go with it. And so she takes him home, and we get home and we meet the wife, and he has another child, a son, and it's, white picket fence type of family. And, things happen, and she then reveals to the family that he's the butcher. Cops get called, he gets arrested, escapes, arrest again. And the twist, right? Because we're thinking the twist is, oh, it's a serial killer at a concert. No, the twist is the wife kind of picked up on it and set this trap with the FBI for him. Dun dun dun, I guess. Like, I really didn't care. At that point, I didn't care. I didn't care about any of the characters. I had no sympathy for any of them. And the reason why I bring the fact that I think this is in a line with his Split universe is it took 3 times for him to be not electrocuted, but I forgot what it's called when you shoot them, the little thing, please shoot him out of the gun and like zaps them 3 times. So he has like superhuman strength, I guess. I mean, you could argue that he was drugged, and that's another thing that bothered me. So towards the end of the movie, he comes back to the house after escaping to confront his wife because he figured out that his wife is the one that set up the trap. And she's like, okay, let's have one last piece of pie. It's supposed to be a celebration for their daughter because, she got good grades and got to go to this concert. So let's celebrate. So he's like, okay, fine. So she cuts the pie, brings plates over, and he's giving a monologue. And again, Josh Harnett is a great actor. In in the hands of a different director, I think a Josh Harnett serial killer would be really cool. It did not land here. Anyway, as as they're eating the pie, he starts to get woozy, right? And he falls over and then realizes there's like this dust over his food. Come to find out, the wife had put the drugs that he used in his bag that to kidnap people and stuff on the pie, which is very gritty. So you're telling me you wouldn't taste that, the grittiness, or is your wife that shitty at making pie? I don't know, man. Like I wanted to really think this out on this review, but I really just I I would not recommend it. I wouldn't recommend seeing it in theaters. I think this is a bust for M. Night Shyamalan. I hate to say this. Again, I like most of his movies. I forgive a lot of them, but I just don't think this works. And I don't know if it's something in the new generation of movies, not new generation of directors, because he's been around for a long time, of this weird dialogue. I know he's had weird dialogue in his movies, but it's never been so off putting, I think, until this one. I cannot remember one that I'm just like, man, that dialogue, this just didn't work for me. So this is a non-recommendation by me. I'm sorry if you were looking forward to seeing it. Don't take my opinion though. I mean, everybody has their own opinion. Go see it. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe it's your cup of tea. I mean, I like Deadpool and Wolverine, and that seems to be dividing the masses. So, until next time, I hope everybody has a nice day and stay spooky.